Well, hi there, everyone. How are you? Happy Friday morning. Very, very happy to see you. This is, wow, the month of August was complete. I do not believe it is September, but it is in fact September because what I believe doesn't matter. Just like what you believe doesn't matter. That's one of the things I think that's most important from this Glitchgate scandal. Hey, Jay Stokes, my brother. That's one of the most important things from this Glitchgate scandal is that we're figuring out what does and does not matter. What truth is in 2023 in a world of computing systems that we can't possibly comprehend. Um, so this is a wondrous time, right? Because this is an awakening. You guys are part of the awakening. Now, there was an event that triggered it, right? And the people that don't like the event that triggered it, which was leaking a conversation about the fact that GigTube creators were had a little criminal cabal that is part of DoorDash, that's sponsored by DoorDash, that is paid for by DoorDash, and and investigations will show this, right? The great thing about investigations is that you know whose phones to check, you know whose computers to check, whether they were contacting one another. You can check bank accounts. You can check all kinds of things in gang stalking networks and in organized crime, in conversations. So this is going to be a really great time because all, and remember, when I say they, I'm talking about DoorDash, who is feeding the propaganda to its minions, like the Pedro cult and the Hannibal is Thirst and all those other gang stalking, gang member leading psychopaths. So the fact that they're doing this shows you that they have completely and totally panicked. And Glitchdash says he's right. They're not destroying the GigTube space. They renovated the GigTube space. Right? We tore the drywall out. We tore it right down to the studs. We're putting in new wiring. We're putting in everything. We didn't tear the house down. The house is fine. Everybody's fine. No, we didn't. Nobody's hurt. We didn't hurt nobody. Right? This is construction. This is constructive construction for Labor Day. Now, see, they want to tell you that constructive construction is destruction. But if you think constructive construction is destruction, then you might be in a cult, right? And so there's a lot of people in cults, and that's the great thing about cults is that they suck in a lot of people. Well, it's great for the people that are in cults. It's not so great for the victims. There's a lot of victims here. So that's why this is a boulder rolling down a mountain that will never be stopped by anyone, including the Pedro cult or a $1 billion gang stalking network led by DoorDash or BlackRock or SoftBank or Saudi Arabian royalty or Chinese dark money investors or evil people in Silicon Valley. Man, this is okay. So this is the worst thing in the history of the world, right? This is the worst corporation in the history of the world. That's the benefit of Glitchgate. Glitchgate showed you that every single thing DoorDash ever told anyone in the government, labor, anywhere else, every single thing they ever presented was a lie. That is a gift to humanity because this is a social nuclear bomb. This is a social nuclear bomb, and the people that are there are in the social media Manhattan Project. And some of them are deluded, and some of them don't care that they're creating technology that will and can destroy the world, can and will destroy the world if we let it. But there are some excellent people out here in this world that aren't going to let that happen. That aren't going to let that happen. Pedro and Hannibal told you on the Pedro and Hannibal is Thirsty show. I am not a real writer. You cannot read a couple million words online from me about minimum wage and about freedom and about police accountability and civil rights. You cannot read the first full four chapters. Four chapters. It's going to take you a full day or more. You cannot read that online because I'm not a writer. You can't read the first full chapter, first four chapters free on Substack right this very second. You can't do that. Now, you also cannot tune into any podcast network that you're going to find the full Dash Closure audiobook and podcast, in which I not only have podcasts with guests like Torp and the Rideshare Hustler and an economist from England and Varsha Bansal, a gig economy reporter who is part of the Pulitzer organization and was sponsored by Pulitzer's, who wrote The Gig Economy in America. She's on podcast number 17. So we don't just cover the Pedro cult in the United States, we cover the podcast, we being me, because I'm a we me, right? I live in my own pocket. I have nobody owns me and I don't own anyone. And thing and nothing owns me. That's called consciousness, right? I have no possessions and I have no money. So it's very difficult, very, very difficult. Let's call it impossible for the Pedro cult or anybody else to get to me as a civil rights activist because I've lived my whole life in a way that they can't get to me. Do you think I know people don't want to like make me go away sometimes? I've been gang stalked multiple times. And this is not the first. This is one of the nastiest, but they're all some of the nastiest because gang stalking, like Pedro and Hannibal is Thirsty were leading, is some of the nastiest, most predatory shit on earth. And the end result, and I've seen it personally here in Portland, is that people get killed. Killed, which is why it's a crime, which is why it's a crime to gang stalk people. And when there's an investigation that you can find that uh, people organized gang stalking, threatening, smearing, libel, slander, putting on shows, if you will, like a Hadro and Pannibal is Thirsty shit show, right? Where they get people on like Rideshare Rodeo, Steve Johnson, who shows you he's a lying giant piece of shit, right? So Steve Johnson betrayed us all. That's Rideshare Rodeo. I've been on his podcast. And when I went on Steve's podcast, we're going to talk about the truth today. My friend, Steve, I thought he was my friend, Steve. Uh, Steve, my friend, Steve Johnson, that is, of Rideshare Rodeo. Um, that's Steve Johnson of Rideshare Rodeo. He hangs out with Kim Side Money Plans and Zach, and but Steve is ubiquitous, man. Steve hosts like 25 podcasts a day because for Steve this is business. This is business, and so Steve uh, stupidly joined the Pedro cult, or maybe he was always part of the Pedro cult. But when it came down to finding either Jesus or Pedro, he chose Pedro. And so he was in the Hannibal is Thirsty and Pedro chat, gang stalking chat, and murder club that the FBI is going to be fucking fascinated with. Everybody in that chat, that made a comment, you're in on it. Congratulations. That's what happens when you join a cult. We had cults. We had the Rajneeshi cult here in Oregon, and everybody thought they were unbeatable. They wore red everywhere. They bought a town. They moved homeless into the town. They took over the town. Everything just like Pedro, Except you know what happened? Yeah, they lost because once they did their gang stalking and they tried to kill politicians and stuff, like the jig was up. So this is what DoorDash is doing. DoorDash is an evil corporation. And if you don't think multi-billionaires with BlackRock and SoftBank connections and stuff might make somebody go away. Mm-hmm. So our friend Cherry it's all our friend Cherry, always cherry pick. The other day on a live broadcast on YouTube suggested that when I sit in my hot tub, one of these days I could get a needle in my neck and then just be found dead of a heart attack. Is that not hilarious? Is that not funny? Do you not think that my adult children should absolutely experience their dad being found dead in a hot tub after being stuck in the head with the needle or in the neck with the needle? That is funny. That's why Cherry is a great satirist. So rebuilding Ryan, that's a great question. No, I'm not saying if they chatted, they are part of a cult. I'm saying if they said what Steve Johnson said, which is that Jeff Black is crazy and he's a big meanie pants and God bless Pedro, all hail Pedro and Hannibal the Thirsty. No, if you said that, like Steve Johnson of Rideshare Rodeo did, Steve Johnson of Rideshare Rodeo, and Para works. He's an investor. So he's got major money. Steve Johnson is investing companies. He's invested in replacing DoorDash with his scam. That's what Steve Johnson is doing. So I sent Steve Johnson while he was on air. Because I have Steve Johnson and I have had direct communication. We've talked privately, we've talked personally, we talked on the phone, we've talked on podcasts, right? So we talked about everything. And so I sent Steve Johnson messages during that. And I said, you, sir, are a gigantic piece of shit. You're a gang stalking fucking psycho. And I am so disappointed in you. Fuck you, Steve. Fuck you. And then I blocked Steve. So that was my message to Steve. So you all should definitely watch all of Steve's broadcasts, Rideshare Rodeo. Steve is here to make money off of you like DoorDash. And Steve is in the All Hail Pedro cult. If you haven't seen it last night, I made a great Pedro cult video. Well, I should say Pedro made a great Pedro cult video. I just put it on air. I just put it on air. Thank you, Rebuilding Ryan. I'm glad you understand, because this is not personal. This is about gang stalkers that are threatening to kill people because they have money involved, kill people, chase them down in their lives, stick needles in their neck in hot tubs. That's funny shit, right? That is in the gig economy, corporate cabal. That's what they call satire. I was taught that. They said it's satire. It's satire, you faggot. It's satire, you fucking faggot, fucking homo, fucking dick sucking homo faggot. It's satire. And I went like, it is satire. It's great. I mean, I got 2 adult kids. It's funny because take a little bit of against hate. There are people that get hurt by it. Me, not me. I'm a writer. I'm a free speech guy. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt me. You don't have anything to hurt me with, which is a shame, which is why you lose. You've always lost. You already lost. So yeah, somebody's watching too many movies. Pedro thinks he can go sticking horse heads in people's beds and get away with it. Pedro is a real gangster. I mean, that's pretty clear. Pedro showed us that he's a fucking Charles Manson looking psychopath. That's not an issue. What Pedro doesn't know, and what Hannibal is Thirsty doesn't know, and what Steve Johnson doesn't know, and all these other guys, is they just flush their careers in because I don't have anything personal against any driver that's been fooled, even people that use the glitch. Gang stalkers and people that try and get people killed, and criminals, and people that collude with DoorDash to ruin people's lives through gang stalking, which these people did. I have evidence. Sorry, my battery is gonna go too soon. I have evidence and proof, and it's gonna be a great time. So, if the Pedro and Hannibal is Thirsty gang stalking show continues, man, it's great. Like, it's the best evidence. The best evidence. I mean, everybody, everybody that supports the Pedro cult should go on and pledge their allegiance, and also uh, make sure they do some gang stalking, so that when everybody gets caught, they want to be in that too, because it's just like, remember when all the patriots, whoever, I don't even care, because I'm apolitical, I don't care about politics, but remember when the people who went in the Capitol, were all the real estate agents, were all out high five, and like, high five, we got in the Capitol, I shit in Nancy Pelosi's chair. I would shit in Nancy Pelosi's chair if somebody gave me a chance. I don't like Nancy Pelosi, but I'm not going to break into the Capitol and throw my life away to do it. So and I would also shit in Mitch McConnell's chair. So I'm bipartisan. Yes, Glitchdash, that is correct. Everybody stay safe out there, right? We're trying to get out of the negative and get into the positive, and rebuild this network of gig tubers and teachers that are going to add value to your life, not get you involved in a fucking psychotic gang stalking cult like piece of shit Steve Johnson of Rideshare Rodeo, and Hannibal is Thirsty, and Pedro, and their ilk. Because if you get on that side, if you get on that side right there, you don't want to be on that side, my friend. Hey, this has been a very short Labor Day weekend edition of the Full Disclosure audiobook and podcast. It's Labor Day weekend. Drive very, very safe. Respect yourself, because you are labor. You are the people that do the work. You're the people that earn the money, make the economy go. And man, God bless you all.